Hi, I'm Jacob Gallucci, and today I'll be reviewing a movie series that I watched a lot when I was a kid, and I'm sure most people around my age have seen at least one of the movies along the way. Today I'll be talking about the Ernest movies. Who's Ernest? Well, I'll explain it here. Getting this off the internet. Ernest P. Worrell is a fictional character most principally portrayed by the late American actor Jim Varney in a series of television commercials and later in a short-lived TV series called Hey Vern, It's Ernest, as well as a series of feature films. Ernest was created by the Nashville advertising agency Cardin and Cherry and was used in various local television ad campaigns. The first Ernest commercial was filmed in 1980, and the format of the commercial seldom varied. The rubber-faced Ernest, almost always dressed in a denim vest and baseball cap, appeared at the door of an unseen and unheard but seemingly unwilling neighbor named Vern. The spots were structured in a way to allow the viewer to be Vern, as Varney looked directly in the camera whenever Vern was addressed. Ernest's seemingly pointless conversations with Vern, which were actually a soliloquy due to Vern never responding, inevitably rambled around to a favorable description of the sponsor's product, followed by a signature close. Know what I mean? While Vern is never shown to ever say anything, it is implied that he finds Ernest to be an unwelcome pest due to him trying to slam his door in Ernest's face on a few occasions. Vern also shakes his head no whenever Ernest invites him to do something. Ernest, despite having good intentions, is utterly oblivious to Vern's apparent distress regarding him and always regards Vern as his closest buddy and confidant. And Ernest was a popular character. He was big in the 80s, and he was big enough in the commercials to get a bunch of films. 9 of them were made between 1987 and 1997, and well, I'll review each one in some detail right now. The first Ernest movie came out in 1987, and it was called Ernest Goes to Camp, and it's a decent film. It's not bad, it really isn't. It's one of the better Ernest movies, I think. The second movie came out in 1988, and it was called Ernest Saves Christmas, and I honestly believe this is the best Ernest movie. It's really not a bad film. It's good. It's a good movie. It's an underrated Christmas film. It's not bad. It has a strong supporting cast, and it's really a fun movie. I like it. The third movie was Ernest Goes to Jail, and that came out in 1990. It's not a bad movie either. It's excuse me. It's all right. It's good in spots, but the first 3 Ernest movies are the best ones in the series. The fourth Ernest movie was Ernest Scared Stupid, and it came out in 1991, and that one's weak. Compared to the first 3, it's a disappointment. It really is a disappointment. That was the first weak Ernest movie, I would say. The fifth Ernest movie was Ernest Rides Again, and that came out in 1993, and I think that movie's better than Ernest Scared Stupid, and Ernest Rides Again's underrated. It's pretty funny. I like it. And unfortunately, it didn't do well in the box office, and it was the last Ernest movie to be released in theaters. And to be honest, that should have been the last Ernest movie, really. The ones after that aren't that good. Ernest Rides Again is, I think, the last decent Ernest movie. They should have stopped with that one, really. But after that, Ernest Goes to School came out in 1994, and that one's pretty bad. It really is. The movie features a young Will Sasso and Sarah Chalke as students at the school that Ernest is going to. Yeah, Sarah Chalke and Will Sasso. And Slam Dunk Ernest came out in 1995, and that featured Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and that's a pretty stupid film. Ernest Goes to Africa came out in 1996. And then the final... Actually, I'm sorry. It came out in 1997. And the final movie, Ernest in the Army, came out in 1998. So I made a mistake. The 9 Ernest movies came out between 1987 and 1998. And the first 5 4 of the first 5, except for Ernest Scared Stupid, they're decent films. Or you either like Ernest or you don't. That's the thing. They're dumb movies. They're silly and cheesy and moronic, but I like them. They're a guilty pleasure. They really are. They're not bad. They're good for a cheap laugh. They're funny, and Jim Varney's a good actor. He really is. He's very underrated as an actor. He's funny, and Ernest was good. He played the role really well, and I liked the characters he had in the movies, like the other characters. Like that old lady, the aunt. She was funny, and the aunt was in a lot of films. Hang on, I have the information here. Ernest played a bunch of characters. One of them was his aunt, Auntie Nelda. Auntie Nelda was funny, and Astor Clement was good. Astor Clement was the guy with the glasses and kind of like the snobby guy, and he was in Ernest Saves Christmas in the jail cell scene. And the weird thing is, the Chicago Bears coach, Mark Trestman, looks a lot like that character. Like, he has the slick back hair and the glasses. He looks just like Ernest P. Worrell's character, Astor Clement. He really does. And also the one snake guy in in Ernest Saves Christmas, the snake guy is Lloyd Worrell, and that's a great scene in that movie. That's the best Ernest movie, definitely. Ernest Saves Christmas. It really is. It might be the only Ernest movie that non-Ernest fans probably would enjoy, I think. The character does get annoying at times, but he's funny. Jim Varney was really a good actor. He died way too soon. He really did. Jim Varney died in 2000, February 10th, 2000, at the age of 50. That's all he was. He was only 50 years old. He died from lung cancer. He had been smoking for most of his life, and if there's one actor that I really wish had lived longer, it's him. He was really good, and he was funny, and he really was a great talent. I'm a big fan of his, and he's one of my comedy idols, I would say. It sucks that he died so young, but supposedly with Ernest, there's going to be another Ernest movie where I read this in October 2012, so this was 4 months ago. A film reboot was announced, tentatively titled Son of Ernest. The film will focus on the long-lost son of Ernest P. Worrell. And it begs the question, who's going to play that role? I wonder. A reboot usually, it's not the best idea, but it's probably going to be a disappointment, but it'll be curious to see who will play Ernest P. Worrell's son. And to be honest, if I was an actor, I think I could play his son. I've always felt I kind of look like him. In a way, you know. Hi Vern, know what I mean? I could do it. I could play Ernest. I could play his son. I look enough like him that I could do it, but I'm not an actor, and I'm sure whoever they find will be a good choice. But, yeah, the Ernest movies are fun if you're looking for a cheap laugh, and, you know, movies where you don't have to think, you know, just silly, you know, funny, you know, clean films. They're good for a quick laugh, I guess. But anyway, I'm sorry for rambling, but these movies, critics hated them, but they have a cult following. They do. They're fun movies, and they're okay to watch every once in a while, I guess, you know. But if you want to, like, go back and watch movies from your childhood, if you want to relive memories from back then, they're fun movies to watch. They really are. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with 2 new videos, and until then, take care.